country. Others do argue that we should take a critical look at the economy around mining in the country and that we should continue with mining but find ways and means of dealing with people or miscreants who are mining illegally in this country. That will be one part of the conversation that we will have. The other part has to do with Ghana's penchant of resorting to the International Monetary Fund. And if all things work out by the close of December, it will be the 17th time Ghana is resorting to the IMF. Question has been asked as to why we've not been able to, over the years, find a sustainable solution to our economic challenges that we've been facing, or things or factors that always draws us back to the International Monetary Fund. Today, we'll be engaging youth leaders and we'll be seeking their opinions on some of these issues. And be with us. It's interactive. You also can go onto our social media platform and whatever contributions that you have, you can put that there and I'll gladly read that for you. We have 1 hour to do this conversation. 1 hour, and I would like to set the ball rolling. But before that, let me introduce to you my panel for today, the maiden edition of Campus Dialogue. To my immediate left is my dear sister. You said you were giving me trouble. It wasn't trouble. It was part of the the job. Amtu Amir Okunfi. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Sifa. Good morning to your listeners as well.
It's great having you.
Audible enough.
Yes, I'm sure you're audible enough, and others can actually hear you. Let me move to my. Okay, all right. So, Harvey Delassie, Justice, is the national president of the Ghana First Crusaders Movement. Harvey, good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sefa and the team.
Thank you very much. Anna Kwame is the founder of, is it Monday? Monday Health Campaign and Health Ambassador for GAHTI. That's the Ghana Association of Health Training Institution. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Gloria John Coleman is student, University of Ghana, GASRC General Secretary. Good morning.
Good morning.
And also, Anna is the 14th National President of the Private Universities Students Association. Good morning. Going out to you also.
Good morning, sir.
Let me start the conversation with Amtu, and because she's closer to me. Amtu, what do you make of the arguments that have been proposed so far on ways to deal with illegal small-scale mining in the country?
Okay, so first of all, from the conversation, we have been made to know that the broader spectrum is small-scale mining. And as part of small-scale mining, then you have the illegal mining and regulated, all of that. So I think some of the solutions, I believe in innovation was supposed to be helpful, but probably by rollouts, we've had some hitches here and there. I will not dispute the fact that people are doing their best, so like the task force and all of that. But certainly there's a lot more to do, because if you start implementation of whatever it is, and say after 3 months or after 6 months, you believe that you have supposedly solved an issue, and then 3 months later you have the issue recurring, but now even, should I say, higher or worse than what it was before, then it means that you really didn't make an enough effort to solve what the issue was. So I would accept that some efforts have been made, but we think we want to see a lot more. If it's proper implementation of the efforts that exist, yes, we want to see that happening. If it's restructuring or better innovations, we also want to see that. We just want to see that something is being done.
I want to ask you a direct question.
Right.
What do you make of our fight against illegal small-scale mining in the past 4 or 5 years?
I think I as an individual, I was pleased at the time where I heard that people were being arrested. Should I say the framework was done to give like regulations, procedures to acquiring your license and all of that. But I mean, generally, I think I'll put it on a 50-50. The other part of the 50 being acknowledging the efforts that are being made, and the other part of the 50 being as a society and people in Ghana making sure it doesn't work for us. So I will put it on a scale of 50.
50-50.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you. Let me go to Javi. Direct question. What is your assessment of our fight against illegal small-scale mining in the country?
Right, thank you very much once again. And I personally appreciate this campus dialogue conversation in the sense that it's first of its kind that would have to open up a bigger conversation around issues of national interest. And so yourself and the management have put up a good work, and I say thumbs up to you.
Thank you too.
I've had a privilege to roam some places where mining or this small-scale illegal mining activities are taking place, and I should say that it is something that is quite disheartening. You look at our water bodies, you get to some forest zones, and you get to see the depletion, and the rate at which, the faster rate at which this depletion is coming. And there is a need to come back to the drawing board to look at it. Far back to 90s, coming down to the 2000 and all that. I should believe that what we have as data and also information that successive governments have tried with various approaches to try to address this issue. And so bringing the youth into this conversation would help us to know what exactly it is. We have our younger brothers, siblings, and cousins down there that are engaging in this activity. So I believe as the conversation grows along, we will come to the point where we would also have to submit some of our professed or suggested solutions or approaches or interventions that we believe that when the stakeholders put in place, we'll be able to help to curb or control this issue of illegal mining in our areas.
But what is your assessment? How will you assess our fight? So let's say, for example, for the past 4 or 5 years, the president declared that as a state, it's gotten to a point in time that we needed to salvage our environment. Fast forward to 2022, where there seems to be a resurgence in illegal small-scale mining in the country. Would you say we've won the fight or we failed?
Well, frankly speaking, anybody who would say that we've won the fight against illegal mining is maybe throwing dust into our eyes. As I mentioned earlier, I personally went to the ground, some places across the country to check for myself the conversations or the news we have day in, day out, how realistic some of these things are. And so I can confidently say that we've not won the fight. To me, even to score ourselves 40% is something, I should say, big. If we should score ourselves
40% is too big.
40% is too big for us, because if you get to the places and you see the level of destruction to water bodies, to all things, it is we've not done well. To me, my general overview and assessment, I should say, is that we've not lived up to the expectations. We've not delivered our utmost to the call and the fight against illegal mining.
Javier, I'll come back to you. Thank you very much. Let me go to Gloria. Gloria, if you're to, on a Likert scale of 1 to 10, to rate our fight against illegal small-scale mining, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, what mark will you give?
I'll give it a 2, actually.
A 2?
Honestly, because we are looking at this from the basics here. We're children from these communities. This is something they've grown up seeing. You understand?
Yeah.
And this fight, I think this became a fight starting somewhere 2017, where people were more keen to getting involved in areas or matters relating to Galamsey. And let's say, based on reports I've seen so far, most kids around 8 years up until 20 years are now involved in illegal mining. Now, 8 years old, if they were born somewhere around maybe 2014, yes. And they see their big brothers going there instead of going to school. they pick up that character.
So they are
And
in a way
also-
motivated.
Exactly. So it's like the government is not being consistent. If people are being consistent and finding solutions to this, being like making the law enforcement more strong in these areas, the kids will not have the opportunity to even think of learning from their elder siblings or their parents. It even turns out that now the kids make the money for their parents. They take the gold and then the money is given to their parents for their upkeep, because it's much more than they earn much more than what they earn if they are to go to school or anything like that. I feel that's one reason why we still have this problem.
You've introduced another dimension of the conversation. We'll get there. The people who are really involved in illegal small-scale mining in the country. I've lived in one of the communities before, and I see, as you mentioned, younger children moving with their parents and moving with their brothers to some of these sites to go and mine. But also, 1 to 10?
Thank you once again. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank you and the production team for coming up with this program. And before I will address the scale of 1 to 10, personally, I would treat illegal mining as the greatest national security crisis happening to this country now. For me, because looking at the repercussions.
It's no longer unemployment?
Oh, no, for me, no. That is for me personally.
Okay.
Yes, because looking at the repercussions associated with it. Yes. I'm saying this because when you go to the places where illegal mining do take place, and you assess the degradation of our land and the repercussion on our water bodies, you understand that unemployment is not even the national security crisis I'm talking about now. Because if a care is not taken, I can confidently state that 2 or 3 years to come, we must import water from other countries. Even once we are accessing water in our own country, just look at the stress that we go through. And for we to import water from other countries to, give it to our citizens. And not only that, those who are situated within such places, if we are to deploy health team for them to assess the health status of all those people there, my brother, you will even kneel down and pray for them at every dawn. So it is not something that we must sit down or do politics with it. We must decouple politics out of Galamsey, because its repercussion has nothing to do with the political affiliation that you find yourself. Because if you are to import water from other countries, it doesn't care whether you are an NPP or an NDC. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. So it is something that we have to take critical look at that. So for me, that is how we are supposed to take it. If we take it as a national security crisis, then we know how to go about it. Thank
Also,
you.
I'll come back to you. You mentioned depoliticization of issues regarding illegal small-scale mining in the country. Well, the question, I want to ask a follow-up question before I move to Anne. The question, however, is how do we do that in a country where we are deeply steeped in politics? Everything is being politicized.
This is simple. For me, we don't need to bring any solution to illegal mining. We have rules and regulations in this country. If you find the perpetrators, they should face the full rigors of the law. Simple as ABC. Because if you want to set up a committee to take in charge of illegal mining, for me, I don't see. For me, it is logically incapacitated. That is for me, because you have the laws there. If the person engages in illegal mining, let the person face the law. This is simple. What do you need again? You don't need anything. You have the laws there. Let them face it. If the person is found culpable, send the person to prison to serve as deterrent to others. But the challenge is that we are in a country where, let's say, once NPP is in the government, and we have government officials who are involved in illegal mining. Let's say if you are there to face the rules and regulations of this country, you could see that you will politicize it. You find the foot soldiers who march out to the police station just because a top politician has been arrested, like what's NDC. So let's say, for instance, if NDC comes to power, maybe 15 or 20 years to come, and they try to investigate and assess those who involve themselves in illegal mining. And they get to know that some of the NPP sympathizers were involved, and they send them to prison. That is through, what do you call it, attorney generals or all those people involved. When NPP comes to power again, they release them. This is simple. This is what we have been doing. Just take a case of those with a dual citizens case. You could see that when a politician is involved in something, we are quick to release them. We are quick to support them. We are quick to march there. But they forget that when they themselves are involved, you not find these politicians there. So that is why I said that when it comes to illegal mining, it has absolutely nothing to do with politics. We must decouple politics out of it, because the repercussion doesn't know the political party you find yourself.
Okay. Also, thank you very much. Obviously, the dimension that you've introduced, we'll have a conversation around that. Let me go to Anna. Anna, on a sorry, you did not give me on a scale of 1 to 10.
For me, there is nothing to scale about.
There is.
I feel, of course.
Okay. Thank you very much. And let me come to you on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, so I would agree with Helen. So I'll give it 2. It's sad to say that the fight against Galamsey has failed, and we have people, the very people who are supposed to protect Ghana and its resources, are in the helm of the affairs destroying the natural resources. And then my concern is the threat it poses to the health of people living within the community. You see, as a health worker, you have different outbreaks of diseases, and then you have the younger ones who are endangered as well. And these diseases may be contagious, and then it goes a long way to affect other people as well. So I think the fight is still on, and we are yet to be successful.
Let me quickly introduce Julius Kwame Anthony, former NUC's General Secretary. Julius, welcome back to the studio. You are a friend, and a brother to ETV. A quick one. I've watched you speaking on the issue of illegal small-scale mining.
Yeah.
To you, what do you believe are the reasons that have led to our failure in dealing with illegal small-scale mining in the country?
Thank you. Which is my camera, because I would want to talk directly to the people involved. Here's the thing, okay, on the fight against Galamsey and illegal small-scale mining. We have put up a PR job, and for the PR job, let me give the state 1 out of 10 for the PR job. The rest of the issues, the reality of what we are supposed to be fighting, has been left out. Are you telling me?
Kindly let the microphone be a bit closer to your
Are you
microphone.
telling me that in these recent times that the media started going to Galamsey site and all those things, that was when, you know, the illegal miners moved their excavators and the rest of that place? No. They've been there the whole time. When the media's attention was on different things, free SHS, meningitis in our schools, all those issues, while the media's attention was on different things, the mining was going on. But guess who knew it was going on? The state apparatus, our government. Because the government gets situational reports from every constituency every now and then. So they know what was going on. So they did nothing about it. They waited until the media cameras went there. But since the PR, for which they've gotten the 1 out of 10, is what they are interested in, they jump to that bandwagon again and start touring the places and then saying they've set up task force and all those things. And when they set up the task force, what was happening with the task force? We saw videos, members of the task force were the ones giving lead to the miners to go to the site and carry out these activities. And they were starting work before they were processing licenses to them. If I make you start work before I process license to you, it's a farce. Because I'm not going to assess any situation to give the reality of whether or not you are supposed to do that over there, because you've already started. So the fight against Galamsey is the worst, you know, scam on a public scale that we have put up in Ghana. And for the consequences and all that, I don't need to belabor it. My very smart colleagues have already outlined them. But what are we doing now, which is a great crime against the Republic? Our state is arresting small boys and putting them in jail to cover up for the activities of people they know full well are the ones doing it. How can people my age, young, in remote areas of this country, afford earth-moving equipment, excavators that they use to carry out these activities. But we see excavators on the site. This is not small-scale mining. Let's stop calling it small-scale mining. How is it small-scale mining when heavy earth-moving equipment are on the site? It is not small-scale mining. Then to point 2, we can't belabor the issues, knowing full well that the solutions are with us without saying them. What do we need to do to stop Galamsey? Let's tell our people the truth. When the president is lying, let's tell him respectfully, Mr. President, you are lying. The pastors who go to Galamsey sites, they are the worst embarrassment to this republic. How do
but
you
they are
go?
suggesting a solution.
I'm
that
coming. Yes,
there
yes.
should be a ban on all forms of small-scale mining in the country.
I'm coming there. The pastors in this country, they should start telling our state officials the truth. And they should stop putting up the worst scam than even the state is putting up. How can prayer stop Galamsey? Are we crazy? How can prayer stop Galamsey? And we saw very dignified men of God praying at Galamsey sites. Instead of calling Mr. President and saying, Mr. President, respectfully, you are not doing what you're supposed to do. We know the people that we have officially licensed to mine in Ghana. Don't we know them? Militarize their sites. Protect those areas. Go for anyone else who is not supposed to. How hard is that? We have our military. We are not at war. So we have enough men to put to the field to do this. So if we are not doing this, and the earth-moving equipments are there, bought by people known by our politicians, and then we go pick on small boys and put them in jail to cover up for them, we are committing a crime.
The same politicians are saying
We are
that.
committing a crime.
The same politicians are telling us, you and I, that there are bigger hands who are the top and are manipulating how things go on these mining sites. And they've not been able, as we speak now, to fish them out.
Who is the biggest hand in this republic? Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He's the president, right? What bigger hands can prevent him from deploying military, protect the areas we have licensed, arrest, and jail anyone else?
But that's what they're doing with their reignition of Operation House 2.
That is not what they are doing, and let me tell you why. You go to the site, pick up a small boy you see in the pit, and I'll talk about why those boys are in the pits in the first place in the latter conversation if we move on. Pick up small boys who our situations are put in a pit in Galamsey. Then you pick them up from the pits and throw them in jail. The equipment, the excavators are still on the site. The one behind, moving the chest on the board, is still at large. And there are so many, young, unemployed, hungry, and suffering people in this country. That person behind, moving the chest, will get more of them again and throw them back to the pit after you leave. How about you trace the excavator? Who licensed it? How did it move to that side? How about you trace the gold, the money? Who buys the gold that comes from those operations? Who sells it to them? How about you do that? And are you telling me our investigative bodies, the national security apparatus, the president himself, and all that are incapable of doing this? If they are incapable of doing this, then let's disband the fight against Galamsey. Let's declare the mineral resources in this country for everyone, so that I can also go to China. I've been there once, made some friends. I can just go bring them so that they give me excavators and I also go and buy. Let's declare it that way so that we do that. But if we say that the mineral resources are still vested in the president, and this is the fuss he puts up, protects those who are the real culprits, and then come and arrest young people my age and throw into jail to cover up for it, then we are putting up a fuss. Let's be honest with ourselves. That is it.
Those watching us from home, those who are watching us from other campuses, you can also contribute to the conversation. We'll come back to some of the new approaches or new measures that the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry has actually come out with. One has to do with the involvement of chiefs in the issuance of mining permits for people who apply for mining permits. Question has been asked as to how the chiefs will be involved in the decision taking, given that the Minerals Act mandates the minister to sign on the permit, and the chiefs are only, and this is according to the Minerals Act in this country, the chiefs are only notified of the intent of a particular company to mine in their respective jurisdictions. Let's go to the phone lines. One of our panel is far away. She's joining us virtually. Let me quickly engage her. Good morning and welcome to Campus Dialogue, first edition. I believe you are well wherever you are. But first question will be, what is your assessment of illegal small-scale mining, the fight against it in the country? Have we failed or we've won? Hello, Ellen.
Your call has been put on hold. Please.
Ellen cannot hear me, but let's come back to the studio and then deal with some of the solutions that the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry is suggesting. Now, also, you want to make a point. A quick one before I come back to Amtu. What do you want to say?
I want to respond to what my brother said regarding the big men who are involved in irresponsible mining. You see, I've had colleagues who were once involved in galamsey. Sometimes you don't need excavator to do galamsey. They have a machine. I don't actually, they call it champagne or something, which is not really expensive. So you only need.
Oh, so you mean champagne is not really expensive?
Oh, but as you see, look, those.
Also, you're wealthy.
Expensive is subjective. He has a lot of cash.
So, you know, those who are involved in galamsey, they can afford it. So sometimes it's not all about the big men. As I said, we need to address this issue holistically.
Okay.
Yes. So
Also, well, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to Amtu. But let's go on to the phone lines and have a conversation with Ellen. Ellen, good morning, if you can hear me.
Good morning.
I trust you well wherever you are.
Yes, I'm fine by God's grace.
The conversation we're having is around illegal small-scale mining in the country, which has become topical recently. What is your assessment of our fight against illegal small-scale mining in the country?
Well, I'd say the country is trying its best to fight against this illegal small-scale mining, but our efforts put in fighting against this issue is not that much. As Tinia also said earlier, it shouldn't be politics. It shouldn't be politics. We shouldn't play along with it in politics. So I believe that we should all come together as one country and then fight against this together. You can't hear me.
Okay, Ellen. Yes, I can hear you. Don't worry. I can hear you. Ellen Tachi Bonsio is the USAG Women's Commissioner. Ellen, I'll come back to you. Amtu, let's start with the suggestions or with the new approaches that the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry has actually come up with. Let's deal with the chiefs.
Before I speak on that, I would like to acknowledge everybody's suggestions, especially that of the children. That's like really touched my heart because yes, it's a national security issue and it goes beyond unemployment. But for the children, that's extremely damaging. You're at risk of rocks falling. You don't go to school, and should I say we are in a space where no matter what you do, you need some form of education.
Yes.
So for me to should I say, sell out my future to go there, fall sick, get hurt and all of that, it's extremely hurtful. And for the fact that people, should I say, minors are being put in jail as well, I think that's something we really have to look at. On the part of the chiefs being a part of it, I've also seen, even in the framework, it states that the chiefs will be consulted. So the consultation does not even mean that they are appending, but then it means that they have some information. So having the chiefs involved, is it not just a month ago that we had a chief in Central Region, or was it Western Region, was actually mining in his room? And he was mining in his room with someone else, and they have been arrested. Some, I think last year or so, we had same issues from Eastern Region and all of that. So realistically, do we want to go and give back the approving power to people we have evidence of them doing? I do not dispute the fact that because of the existence of the Constitution, the president is responsible for every single thing of the country. But in jurisdictions, we still give regard to the chiefs and the queens, the traditional system.
Customarily.
Right. I don't know if I should say, are they ready? I don't know if it's the right thing to say. Like Otunfo was saying last year when he was addressing, saying that when we say it, you ask us not to say it. Are the chiefs themselves really ready, or are we saying that they are being silenced in a certain way? I don't know, but I think
You don't feel that the chiefs are ready?
I believe so, yes, the consultation and everything. Because if a chief who believes, I mean, Ghanaian, like the Ghanaian society is very religious and very traditional, which means that we believe that, okay, so he's supposed to hold on to the society, hold on to the place,
Custodian
and
of the
it's
land.
for my ancestors and all of that. And even if you are mining in your room, are you sure you are ready? Somebody cannot just come and tell you that, oh,
I'll give you
do it
200,000
like
Ghana
this for
cedis.
me and let's see how it's going to go. Because you are proving to me firsthand that you are not, I believe not everybody is like that, because even as individuals, people can have their ways, and then we'll have people who would, should I say, make an effort to be distinct. So generally, are they all ready? I know some of them are ready. But the rest of them, are they ready? Let's just think about it. But the fight against Galamsey, it's very mind baffling, especially because, like you were saying, when the media attention wasn't there, it means that people were still working. Because yesterday or last 2 days, I saw a video on UTV's Instagram page where somebody actually used a TikTok account. If we are serious, cybersecurity should be able to track that TikTok account down now, identify where they are, arrest the people. Because the person said in the video that Ghana by enye baby ana wunim, which means that you know what you are doing is wrong. That's why I said in the beginning, we as Ghanaians are evil as well, because we are not thinking of the very basic things, like how am I going to drink tomorrow? How am I going to eat tomorrow? Like, yes, you are going to get the money, you are going to be a big boy, you buy the Benz and everything. So then tomorrow you won't be able to even access water with your supposed money and all of that. It's painful. It's really painful.
Amtu is suggesting that not all of the chiefs are really ready to be given the opportunity to take decisions as to who goes into their jurisdictions to go and mine. Harvey, do you believe so?
All right, so I believe in the wisdom and the beauty of the framers of our constitution, the present one, 1990. If you trace back to Article 11, it tells us about the sources of laws. And it tells us that we have customs and some form of traditions that also are encoded to be laws. It extends to talk to us about the Chieftaincy Act, which puts into play the role of chiefs in the development of the country. It is the same Parliament of Ghana that drafted or came up with the Minerals and Mining, the Regulation Act. That was in 2012, I think LI 21 something, I've forgotten the actual. So it tells us that it is for a special reason that our chiefs have been deleted from mainstream partisan politics. It is for some of these reasons, for instance, being custodians of our lands, protecting our lands, our forest reserves and water bodies. It is for this reason that they have been sidelined, for them not to have mainstream political conversations that would have frictions with some of these things. But it is showing to us as though some chiefs are not putting out the utmost best. For instance, if you would bear with me, we share our reflections back to some incidents that took place in Ashanti some time ago when Mr. Odike was on one of the sister stations talking about the issue that to him, he feels and knows that some people, even from the traditional rulership or leadership, are part of this illegal mining. And the next thing is for him to be, I know all of us know what came after that, and even for the media station to be closed down. So it is posturing as if some of these chiefs, the solutions or the suggested solution that the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry is putting up, to me, it is just, as my brother mentioned, it's more or less a PR kind of thing. So the media's attention is there. So let us talk more. Let us do more of the talk. But the point is that the actual situation on the ground goes beyond just media or PR communications. So the question is...
The Lands and Natural Resources Minister makes us understand that it's not just about speaking.
But do you
It's
know that
about-
as we speak now,
Mm.
don't pass the paper so if I'm right with the name.
Yes.
Currently there is a chief, a traditional ruler, who is alleging that even the
And has been
deputy
sued.
the deputy minister and the MCE and even the regional minister of the area are some of the perpetrators or people behind this conversation we are having.
That's you're mentioning Nana Nyona.
Yes.
Nana Nyona has been sued by the same people he alleges are involved in illegal small-scale mining.
That is in the face of law. So the case is in court. and
Yes.
The
Yes.
justice system will address that and all that. But for somebody to allege, for a chief to allege and make some of those wild allegations that he's met the MP for a number of times, he met the MC, he met the regional minister, and some of those things he was putting out there, then it creates some form of worry to us. So it is as though some of these are chiefs and traditional rulers that are the main custodians of the land that would have to safeguard the area, that would have to launch a very deeper conversation and do the thorough education in their local language, advocating massively. Some of them, if we should rate it on the scale, the rate at which traditional rulers are fighting or trying to advocate is, if there is anything like 0.1 again is to 1.
Infinitesimal.
Because it is as though there is nothing being done. And the few that are trying to pull up their weight to join the campaign for us to do the rightful thing are being sabotaged. Some are being sabotaged, others are being attacked and all that. So the conversation to bring them into the picture is very, very important. But let us look at the approach, not just to inform them or to tell them that you have an overview around your area, but rather give them specific roles, give them specific duties. Back in those days, some of us who were young, if they tell you that, my brother Sefa, you are being called at a himfie, you see how you shiver.
You shiver.
You see how you shake. It tells you that the traditional leadership had some authority, but over the years, they have diluted that strength, that concentration for us to hold them relevant and valuable enough. They've thrown it away. So if the Land and Natural Resources Ministry is giving them task, be specific. Tell them what is expected of them, how they are supposed to bring the people and the perpetrators to book, and for us to take the next line of action. I think that would be the best way.
Have you believed that they can do something, but whatever responsibility given them must be specified? Thank you. Gloria,
Yeah.
you believe the chiefs will do a good job?
Well, there's one thing I'd like to touch on. It's quite surprising that in a few days just passed, a journalist went, I think, somewhere in the Western region, and he sought for permission from the chief to be able to go and take some videos of things going on at the mining site and all that. And he gave him the go-ahead and told him to come back in the evening so that they'll all go to the mining site together and go and see what's going on. He went that evening, and then the chief it sent someone to tell him that he was tired, so he should come the next morning. In the morning when he said the chief's not around. So this journalist, I don't want to mention names because of certain reasons, he went to the site and they were surrounded by people that are ready to beat them up and all that. What would this tell you? The chiefs are very much aware of what's going on in the town, and they know what they are gaining from whatever is going on in the town, but they decide to turn an idle eye to it because they are interested in their personal gain, not necessarily the development of the country or anything relating to that. Because it's rather unfortunate that we've come to a time where it's like everybody is greedy and self-centered and thinking about things that will benefit them and not the nation as a whole. Yeah.
Gloria believes that some of the chiefs are self-centered. They are, if I want to use any of my psychological terms, narcissistic. They're just thinking about themselves and not even their immediate surroundings. For example, developing the community or thinking about the next generation as well. How do you believe the chiefs within our respective communities who are custodians of our lands should be deployed in dealing with issues of illegal small-scale mining?
For me, I think that the involvement of chief in eradicating the Galamsey illegal mining is not the best way to go, because
you believe it's not the best way to
it's
go?
not the best way to go because the chiefs themselves are part of the system. They are beneficiary of the system. Now ask yourself, how did the Chinese manage to know that there is a site in central region where gold can be mined? How did it happen? Is it not the same chief who is the custodian of the area allocated the land to such a stranger? So for me, if you want to solve this issue, we need to strengthen our institution. Simple as ABC. We have police, we have judiciary, let them arrest them, send them to court.
The military has been involved over a period of time now.
Well, that's what I say, we need to
So
strengthen
let's say
them.
from somewhere around 2013, the military has been involved in dealing with issues having to do with illegal
Yes,
small-scale mining in the
that's what I'm
country.
saying, that we need to strengthen our institution. Because the point is, look, when I say we need to strengthen our institution, we need to also look at the mode of recruitment. Because usually we do it on political basis. So sometimes these officers, some pay allegiance to whoever in a way facilitated their, what do we call it, employment. So, and that is how. Because when you critically analyze and ask, what do we call it, yes, recently, you could see that some of the military officers were called on phone that this particular site, we know the person, so know how to treat them, guide them. In fact, they even protected them. So if you strengthen our institution well, where mode of recruitment is not based on a political basis, that it's based on meritocracy, I don't think we are going to face this challenge anymore.
Also, thank you very much, Anna. Anna is already having a microphone. Anna, so 3 out of 4 panel members who've spoken so far, in one way or the other, do believe that the chiefs are not doing a good job as we speak now in dealing with illegal small-scale mining in the country. One believes that the chiefs are deeply involved. However, you believe that we need to specify the roles or their duties or responsibilities in this fight against illegal small-scale mining. Let me ask you, will the specification of the responsibilities or the roles that the chiefs are supposed to play in the fight against illegal small-scale mining do anything or have any form of impact in the fight?
Yeah, I think so, because first of all, the chiefs are very much, they've been very much aware of what is going on. And they are the ones who are probably leading the people to support this idea. And I believe it's out of ignorance, because we need to reinforce the education. They may be ignorant of the long-term effect it will have on the future of the kids and then the youth in that area. So specifying their roles and then reinforcing education for them to be aware of the dangers or the effect of or the impact of this galamsey activity and how it will affect development and then the future of young ones who are coming up. So yes, I do.
You know, some of the chiefs are saying that there is no economy within some of these local areas where illegal small-scale mining takes place. The illegal small-scale mining is a whole economy on its own in some of these areas, providing employment for people making money out of it. If we are, let me go to Julius quickly. If we are to involve the chiefs, where do we need to position them? Given the fact that we have records or facts are available that some of these chiefs are complicit of illegal small-scale mining in this country.
Why are we expecting so much responsibility from people we have taken so much power away from? I mean, our constitution places the power of force, to use force in the executive. And the power of the budget is with the executive or the government, because the legislature plays a role. Which means the issue of employment that you've mentioned, which pushes some people in some of these areas to go into galamsey, is supposed to be solved by the executive. Because the issue of galamsey cannot be solved, pick one issue, and it's an all-encompassing solution. The chief has no such powers. If we want to look at the real practical model of whether or not chiefs would be able to solve the issue of galamsey, let's look at what Ashanti says. You have the military, you have the police, you are not able to do that. Do you expect an Ashanti to go to galamsey sites trying to force people to stop? What would they do? They will embarrass him. He shouldn't leave his high stool and go do that. The people we've elected and given that mandate to, they should be able to do it. when it comes to the issue of unemployment and all these issues, yes, it's a real threat. And for me, it remains the biggest threat because of my experience of what I see unemployment doing. I've not been taking Trotsky for a while, but since I've moved to Adenta, I've been taking Trotsky to observe. And what I observe over there is that the young guys, and I say this on every media platform I go to, there are young men, okay, who have formed what I call a syndicate around our bus stops. There's one at Atomic. There's another at Zongo Junction over there. When I move from my house and I go to Madina Market and I purchase something, I want to enter a vehicle, do I need them to direct me into the vehicle? No. But these guys now feel very entitled to that space. That anybody that enters vehicles from there, they feel the drivers must pay them. And do you know how terrorism starts? Sense of entitlement from hardened people who feel they own an area. That is how terrorism starts. And when this is happening in the heart of Accra, you should know that it's worse elsewhere, which means the Galamsey areas. It won't be long before these young men feel entitled to that space. And they are right to continue doing what they are doing, regardless of who asks them to stop.
Militarizing the fight, won't it help?
That would help. But what are we doing? When you militarize without solving the fundamental issue of unemployment and people's mindset, because if you employ them and put them where they get food to eat, they no longer think that, you know, they must fight you and all that to maintain a space. So if you don't solve that and you militarize, we are at war with ourselves. So if the state is unable to solve this issue in the heart of Accra, you should imagine what else is happening elsewhere. And I made inquiries. Are the police aware? The women around there, I took my time, I asked them. The women around there said the police are very much aware, and they've seen them there a few times. And the issues they say is that why should they be fighting them? So you see, we have a cowardly police leaving this situation here in the heart of Accra. What is happening elsewhere? Have we thought about it? So when the conversation of youth unemployment and all these things to come, we only think about college-educated people, teacher trainees, nursing trainees, university people, SHS people and all. These people who don't have formal education, are they not youth? Which youth conferences have you seen? Our national youth policy and all that. What efforts do you see in its implementation to involve these people? So the problem is worse than the fact that people have moved excavators to a site and have started digging. It's worse than that. Solve the unemployment. Let people be able to eat. Then we can have a conversation about protecting the environment, because if I'm hungry in some village somewhere, and Galamsey is what I've known all my life, and you've not given me an alternative feed, and you're coming to tell me that about environment, someone else is drinking water, why should I mind you? That is what is happening. That is what is happening. So if we want to solve these things, let's stop putting responsibilities on people we have taken so much power away from. If Nana Santini wants to fight Galamsey in Ashanti region, he will need force, the power of force. He will need a budget to finance the activities. And
Which will come from the state.
So, and the state does not give such powers to chiefs, and I don't think we should, because if we do, this is what happens. If you give powers and responsibilities, there must be checks, which means the institutions that you share those powers among must be kind of co-equal. Chiefs and the state government are not co-equals, no matter how you look at it. So if you do that, you even worsen the corruption. When the top is corrupt, it trickles down. It even becomes worse than it is right now. So I don't think we should give such powers. The people who have it now should do their job. It's as simple as that. Nana Santihini does not have BNI or CID and all that at his command to investigate and trace
the state
people.
has.
The state has already. Why do you expect him to do that? If you want Nana Santini to investigate, then give him BNI.
Okay.
Give him CID. Do we want to risk that?
Okay, it's now time for solutions, but let me also remind our viewers who are at home and who are on all of the various social media platforms. You can put your contributions there, I'll read them. And remember, we'll be shifting our attention to the economy. The first question that I'll ask you, please put these and put your answers at the back of your head, because immediately I ask you that question, I want quick responses. I'll come, we are going to the solution, but the question is, our economy as it stands now, do you think it is heading in the right or wrong direction? Don't answer yet. But let's deal with solutions on how we can end illegal small-scale mining before we move to our other
So
topic.
before I attempt at answering that, I would like to address the issue of mindsets. Like I said before, we are wicked people as Ghanaians. It comes down
you are insisting on...
Yes, we are wicked people as Ghanaians, as in our mindsets. So I believe the attempts to do the alternative livelihood for people in small-scale mining. So I don't know if you remember that I was saying that some of the things were very innovative, fine. But the implementation process is all over the place. So I believe that some of the things that the alternative livelihood should be doing is continuous education and empowering for the people in the space to understand, so that they don't be, should I say, reach a certain point where they feel entitled to say that, to tell me that Ghana buying in baby. Like, what kind of wicked mindset is that? Because it's like when people go to jail, right, and they come back out, look at the countries that give them empowerment while they are inmates and the countries that don't give them empowerment. A lot of the people that receive empowerment do not return to it.
Yes.
The people that do not receive empowerment return to the same thing, because you hear them say that, oh, I'm so sorry for people that don't speak Chi. So they would say that in the prison, I have made a family, I am accepted. Even if I am unable to work, I still have food to eat. So it's a matter of our mindsets, because yes, you would give Otun for say to force, right? If the people with the force themselves are going there with an evil mindset that I can pick up a phone and call my colleague on the other side to tell the person that protect the land because you know who is for, you are a wicked individual. You are very wicked.
So first and
Very,
foremost,
very
you're saying that we should deal with our attitude as a people.
Right. All of us, from us sitting here speaking, from the people on the site, to leaders, to task force, to chiefs, Ghana as a country, everybody inside, top to bottom, bottom up, all of us deal with your mindsets. Because when you are able to deal with that, then things become very practical in solving. Like, say, issues of unemployment and all of that. Because you started to work on the person's mind. So let's deal with our mindsets and be very realistic with our approaches to the issue.
Thank you very much. Let me quickly go to some of the messages that our viewers have sent in. Isaac Maulom, he says that Anthony Julius, to me, is just a genius. The way he expresses his views with eloquence and confidence is unmatched and is very knowledgeable. Let's invest in such people. This one is from David Womano. He says that very insightful submission. AJ, Anita Inshira Bondi, the second, I'll say Amtu, you're getting some fans over here. This one is from Prince Adu Mensa. We need to strengthen the institution, as Oswald is mentioning. Ya Asantua Angela says that Galamsey is a huge social canker and indeed needs to be treated as a national security issue. I ask these so-called perpetrators or big men involved in Galamsey to, do they have documents or not? I ask because if you go to Manswe Dubia, specifically Gold Line Company, I know it's a paper-bearing gold company, yet to have gone beyond their premises and now mine into villages. Primary school compounds are being mined and no one finds fault with it. I think we need to contact this gentleman and then we can follow up on some of these issues. Ella Togbivi, she says that excellent submissions. This one is from Alfred Asante. Anthony Julius, smart and excellent submission given there. This one is from Angela Abuchi. We love this. More of this. Gojian. Very insightful. These are some of the messages that you send. I can see that a lot more are sending their messages on our WhatsApp platform, even though I've not announced them yet. Let me quickly go to Harvey. 2 minutes solutions. What do we do?
All right, so thank you very much once again. Two things that I would like to speak about, and I think it started all the way from my good sister over here. So, as you mentioned, Ghana First Crusaders movement. And so, when you come to Ghana First, there is this initiative that we've created, and that is to reorient the mindset, the thinking, and how we do things in the country. And so we're building into young people the spirit of patriotism, nationalism, and a common interest. So if you, from infancy, you have been trained that you must put your country first. In your society you find yourself, in the environment you find yourself, in your school, when you are given positions and whatever it is, you must put the country first. Then it tells you that I don't just have to get up to go and do anything, anyway, anyhow. And so the mindset, the mindset and then orienting our opinions and our decisions in things that we do, right from our basic levels throughout to even the topmost person, is very important. Once we have the right mindsets, once we have people's correct conscience telling them that this is good, this is not good, do it this way, don't do it that way, we have won the battle 50%. Now let's go to institutions, very important. And so we have to work on our HR, human resource development. And then there is something we call labor planning. Now, if as a country we have a national policy that deals with our labor planning approaches, then it helps us to know very well that the conversation around unemployment shouldn't only be centered around people who have had some form of formal education into our health training institutions, into mainstream universities and all that. But the conversation about unemployment goes far, far beyond that, and even to the informal sector, into environments and communities, societies where we find some of these are younger brothers and sisters who are going into illegal mining. So once we have that labor planning and we have that structure down, then we get to know that for these people, this is what would work out in that catchment area. For instance, we have arable land in certain parts of the country. So we come back to a broader conversation into which kind of young people have interest into agriculture production or anything of that sort. Which people are interested in technical vocational trainings. Which people are interested in various, even if into the mining areas, which people might find interest in. How do we modify it? How do we do it the right way? Because we have regulations, we have laws. So the labor planning approach is very important. There we can integrate that into social and economic development and planning. Once we do these two things, the orientation of our mindsets and also setting up our institutions, particularly with labor planning, I think we'll be able to do something good in the fight against illegal mining in our country.
Thank you very much. Gloria, solutions. Solutions.
Okay.
We're dealing with solutions. But let me quickly announce that the second subject that we're supposed to deal with, by popular request, we need to have that conversation next week so that we can extensively deal with the issue having to do with our economy and where we stand. But you have to answer the question as to where we're headed to, the economy, good or bad, today. Gloria.
Okay, so with the solutions, back to the basics. It starts from the basics, the growth. What we are inculcated with at the beginning is what you bring forth. Teachers should stop abandoning the classrooms and going to the mining sites with their children. Who will come and teach them?
Gloria, you're speaking from experience.
No, like it's a touching story I actually read. Yes. And a teacher of, I think he's in the Western region.
Yes.
Around, I think, Prestia or something. And the teacher leaves the classroom and goes to the mining site because he claims the government is not paying him well and the students are not even coming to class. If you are not there, who will teach them? That's one thing we have to think about. So they should stop abandoning the classrooms. That's one solution.
And also the classroom should be used as a tool to reform the minds of the young ones that are growing up also. Solutions.
Solutions, as I said, we must strengthen our institutions.
One.
And two, we must also check our borders and immigration system well. Our borders and immigration
So that's
systems.
the foreigners element
Exactly, it's
in
very
our
important.
illegal small-scale mining fight.
Sure. And we must also create job avenues for our people. Because if you are employed and things are working for you, there is no way you involve yourself in Galamsey. So we must also look at that. And we must also use technology to also fight this menace. And not only that, too, we can also provide logistical services to our service personnel who have been tasked to check on the illegal Galamseys. Because the point is, see, sometimes when they even go on the field, because they lack certain things, they may end up engaging in something opposite that they were tasked to go and do. So you must really resource them financially and logistically as well. And I'm 100% optimistic that if you do this, you'll be able to overcome it.
Thank you also. Anna.
Okay, so I think that we need to assess the ignorance level of people, specifically within the mining areas, and then also give the young people opportunities and access to become entrepreneurs. This will help reduce the rate of unemployment, as my co-panelist said. Yeah, and then it would also promote good livelihood among young people.
Thank you, Anna. Julius.
Yeah. If you observe the areas that Galamsey go on, most of those areas too are farming areas. Cocoa especially, are cash crops, and cashew and all that. One observation recently is the fact that those cocoa lands are also being converted to Galamsey sites. Why? Because there's no reward for producing the cash crops that we use for our exports in this country. So we have farmers who farm cocoa for 20 years, 30 years, and they can't even afford to send their children to school. We have scholarships that have been set out to take care of their children, and board members who don't know what cocoa farm look like are the ones whose children get those scholarships. Why shouldn't they do Galamsey? So that is the solution. There should be reward for people going to farm in our cocoa farms. The people who are on the boards, who don't know what a hole looks like, who have never held it before, they should use their salaries to pay their children's school fees so the right people get the monies. So that these people will continue the farming. When that is happening, I'll find cocoa farming attractive. Because I'm assured that once
you don't find it attractive now?
Now I don't. Because if I go into cocoa farming, I have no guarantee that my son will get the scholarship to University of Ghana. And not, someone else who would be on the board who doesn't know how to farm. So let's change this. And we would have people fighting, against Galamsey. Because if you have cocoa farmers who get very rewarded for the job they do, the moment they see that Galamsey people, their activities, even in the most remotest way, affecting their cocoa farms. Because recently, because of Galamsey, some of the rivers are flowing into cocoa farms and destroying them.
Yes.
But do you know, instead of fighting that, do you know what the cocoa farmer will do? After all, the illegal mining is even bringing more money. So let me just abandon this cocoa and join them. If you can't fight them, you join them.
Okay.
But if he's very rewarded for his cocoa, he will stand his ground and fight. We would have local people themselves fighting the illegal miners. And that is the best way to win, if you have the locals themselves fighting the canker. So let's reward people who sacrifice for this country. And stop giving scholarships to board members who never know how to farm, who don't know the taste of going to sweat.
Julius, thank you. Julius had the last bite of the cherry. Thank you, my panel, Amtu, Harvey, Gloria, Oswald, Anna, and Julius. Next week, we're going to continue with the conversation. But the final question has to do with where do you think our economy is heading to? Right direction, wrong?
Okay, I'd just like to say thank you because I'm ending. It will be my concluding statement. I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to be here to share my thoughts with equally, should I say, intelligent or smart young people. In ending, I would like to say that as an individual, I am not impressed. Yes, it's nice that somebody give you like before when it was 10, somebody give you like $100 and you're actually a lot of money. But I mean directly and realistically, like on the ground,
yes,
it's not impressive.
So wrong direction or right direction?
Wrong.
Okay, Harvey, wrong direction or right direction?
In a space of 30
One. Just I need a monosyllabic response. Wrong, right.
Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to roam the
wrong,
country.
right. We'll have this conversation next week. Wrong, right.
Yes, I'll come to that.
Wrong, right, because I have 1 minute to go.
Great. So to me,
wrong, right.
It is very wrong.
Okay.
It is very worrying.
Wrong direction.
It's
Gloria, wrong.
It's wrong.
Oswald. Wrong.
I don't want to answer.
Okay, right. Next week, obviously you will answer. Anne?
I would say that Ghana is a sinking ship.
Okay, all right. And Julius. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And that's how we wrap up on the first edition of Campus Dialogue right here on ETV Ghana. Next week, we're obviously going to have a conversation on the economy. And why is it that we keep going back to the IMF? Thank you to my panel who made time out of their busy schedules to be here with us this morning. Next week, obviously, we're praying to have them back here. My name is Sifa Danko. I've been your host, and I'll be the person making sure we elicit responses, opinions, and solutions from our youth on this particular show. Good morning.